Hello and welcome to the Ramble On, where we're gonna try and dissect Jordan Peele's Us film.
That's right. Film Us, which just came out today, so we're starting a little bit behind as far as speculation. But, yeah, of course, as always, there will be spoilers in this, so bear that in mind before you go any further in. We will get to it real quick for spoilers. And the first spoiler, what is the theme of Us?
I have no idea. As we said in the American recut, it was muddied. The message was muddied. In contrast to Get Out, it was kind of cut and dry in some ways, a little more laid bare. But
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this movie. So, for context, there's some themes that talk about like government stuff being shady, where they talk about how all the doppelgangers come from kind of this underground shady lab that they've been worked on. There's some kind of black culture stuff because it does follow a predominantly black culture that's hanging out on beaches that are surrounded by white people. All the people that we see dead are white people. There is something to that, but I don't know what. There are some messages of we're not so different, you and I, when they talk about the doppelgangers versus the real people.
right.
There's kind of this imposter syndrome thing going on with one of the doppelgangers who replaced the main character before the film ever began.
This whole metaphysical duality and, like you said, the whole government thing, the race thing, I mean, it's a lot to digest.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff going on with this, and I couldn't tell you what the theme really is, which I think might be a sign of pretension, possibly, if we believe that Jordan Peele just had the one movie, or it could be a sign that he's operating on something where we don't quite get it ourselves. It's hard to say without a third movie that would really help us figure out the trend for him, but this one I'm having trouble figuring out the theme of.
Right. No, the first movie, I mean, he's new to this kind of particular genre, so...
No, not that new. He's made a movie at this point. He's worked in it.
Well, I mean, so, as I said, the first movie, that was his first movie. He was new to the genre.
Yeah.
He was new to the genre, so he had some legroom to work with, and the execution was terrific. Second movie, I mean, a second movie's not a pattern. It's hard to kind of tack down what his writing style is.
I believe that part of it, what I would say, is that the first movie's often the passion project. This is the one that you've worked on for years and years and years. You've perfected the script down to a T. You've really thought this universe through. You have all the rules figured out. The second movie is the one you come up with immediately after the first, where you have a precedent set, and now you need to live up to this first movie that had so much of your time, effort, and love put into it, with so much less of all of them.
That's a good point. That is a good point. No, the first one, I mean, that is the one you labored for with, but the second one, that one, that's trying to...
It doesn't get the time to bake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that as far as themes go, unfortunately, I thought this was going to be the longest part of our discussion, but I think the only thing I can really say is I don't know what the theme is. My best guess is that it has something to do with biblical references, since there's a lot of biblical references.
There's some.
And there's not much to get from the wardrobe, though, because a lot of the wardrobe is kind of filled in for in-universe, because all the stuff that you see in the trailer, it's all stuff that has to do with the clothes that she's wearing when she switched out. They wear red because the stick people, well, the cut-out figures on the Hands Across the World thing are all... red cutouts. They have the gloves because she was wearing a Michael Jackson Thriller shirt before she was kidnapped. The scissors are there because they're paper dolls that are all holding hands. So they're trying to make paper dolls. It's
right.
statements.
It's this weird plan.
It's a statement by her in universe, not necessarily by Jordan Peele.
I just realized most of her schematics, most of the, I want to say doppelganger schematics, were from a shirt.
Well, you mean the original, who was brought down?
Yeah, the original. That's a better word for it, because this character, who we believe to be the doppelganger, was not really the doppelganger.
Which, speaking of that plot twist, did you see that coming too?
I didn't. Not right away.
It was the first thing I thought when I saw Doppelganger. I thought, okay, horror movie, Doppelganger. Chances are good they switch places. I mean, like I said in the American Recut, it was kind of a paper-thin plot. It was basically just zombie doppelgangers show up to murder their others.
Yeah. And
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, the only plot is that, like, they beat up their doppelgangers, and then escape to someone else's house where their doppelgangers won, beat up their doppelgangers, and then have a trip to, like, go to Mexico or something, but then doppelgangers keep showing up for them, so they have to, like, deal with them one at a time. And then the plot kind of just derails after that. Like, it doesn't really go anywhere.
Well, what bothers me, so these people were coming from the sewers? Okay, so did the government just...
Well, not the sewers, just the different little bunkers like this, because apparently they're all created like a government project to like try and manipulate people through these doppelgangers, but they couldn't quite control them, so they just kind of left them to die or something.
Okay, yeah, so help me out here. What did the original say in the bunker below? I mean, I didn't quite hear her very well.
She said something about a government program to control the ones above, but they found that we didn't have one soul to split between the two of us, so they left us to die.
Okay. Well, that's so weird. Why would anyone want to manufacture weird doppelgangers?
Well, in this case, it was because the government thought that they could use it somehow to control people. Kind of a Project MK Ultra type thing, where like in the 70s, it was just this crazy thing the government thought, and then they decided, maybe not. Which, this might have something to do with MK Ultra, maybe, but that seems really weird for Jordan Peele going for like conspiracy theories for his motivation.
It does, yeah. It dabbles in some weird conspiracy, and that's not... I would never equate him as a conspiracy theorist.
It's a weak angle for a movie, too. Conspiracy theories in general are kind of been there, done that.
Well, I mean, and also they're just so loosely fabricated that they border on absurdity.
Because the plot is so paper thin and the themes aren't really there, I think that if this wasn't Jordan Peele directing this, and someone who's really directed the excellent film Get Out and the excellent comedy series before it, I would say he was kind of a hack.
Don't get us wrong, the movie was good, but I mean...
It was competently made, it was excellently made in regards, but it felt like it was kind of up its own ass a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, like you said, the second movie either tries to be as good as the first or eclipse it, and I'm not sure. It didn't really do that.
Yeah,
mainly because it tried to do it from a different angle, and no.
I think my take is that after thinking about it for a little bit, it's kind of pretentious. It just kind of comes across as a little bit too pretentious without a message to go with it.
Which, I hope Jordan Peele doesn't... He does need to be a little careful about that. I mean...
Yeah, don't let it go to your head too fast. You saw what happened with Shyamalan.
Yeah, oh god, exactly. Yeah. He's riding high in the 90s, and the next he
was riding high for one movie.
And that movie was in the 90s, so, I mean, he rode high once.
Yeah. As far as the characters in the movie go, I may as well just go with our original points, just go through them with spoilers this time. The characters were all pretty weak. Like, you had a lot of very traditional characters. You have this teenage girl who constantly is on her phone, constantly ignoring the family, constantly ignoring her potential, blah, 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 blah. You have a little boy who's kind of this introverted, shy boy who has a strange connection with the haunted. You've seen it a million times in horror movies. You have this very outspoken dad who's kind of incompetent, but kind of talks a big game, but doesn't really bring the thunder when it matters.
Right.
and you have this mother who's kind of very controlling, very, like, clutching after her children, not able to let them out of her sight. You've seen all these characters in horror movies before.
They are very cookie cutter, and, they're bland enough that you could kind of make it work.
They're fine, is what I'm saying. They're fine characters. It's not like, they need to be these incredible original characters who have all the soul in the world. No. They can be there to make do for a movie if it's in the service of an excellent theme or an excellent story or an excellent plot hook. This movie doesn't really have any of those.
Well, then again, I don't think that's Jordan Peele's style, because let's look at Get Out again. So the main character, he's just some hapless guy who thinks he's in a wonderful relationship with this one woman.
Well, no, I think they have interesting characters in the first one, because you have this whole family of kind of these backwoods, rednecky, rich people type characters who actually engage in a black worship instead of this other racism. It's kind of the opposite end of racism. You have a main character who's kind of aware that he's not like, you know, the most ghetto person in the world, but he also feels really out of place in this country rich house. You have his best friend who's very genre savvy, and someone who ends up saving the day through his genre savviness and his unpredictability. You have the grandparents who took the place of spoilers for this movie, by the way, for the other movie. The grandparents that show up in the movie, and they're kind of an unexpected, interesting character swap as well for the other people that he thought he could connect with but couldn't. There was quite interesting going on even the characters and their own motivations. Like even his girlfriend, it turns out that she was just luring him there in order to get his body stolen or something like that.
Totally apathetic, yeah.
Well, she seemed empathetic, but it turned out that she was actually like a double agent. She was interesting.
Yeah.
This movie didn't have any especially interesting characters like that by contrast.
That's fair. You know, I mean, because as in Get Out, you see how observant the character is. You kind of feel his anxiety. Whereas in this...
And you're on the same page as him.
Well, yeah. Whereas this, you're just lost.
You're in the same place as the characters to an extent, but I thought that if I could be bold enough to give script feedback on this, I don't think I am qualified for that, but if I was bold enough to do it, what I would say is the part where it kind of goes from being just, you know, a family with their doppelgangers, that's kind of interesting in its own way, right? Like it's got like a
good concept.
It's got metaphorical concepts. It's got, you know, they embody some of the worst traits of them, but also some of the best traits that they're ignoring.
Right.
But then you find out, oh, this other family has doppelgangers too. And everyone else in America has doppelgangers. That's
where it started going off in the rails for me. I mean, I was on board.
I think I would be much more intensely personal for that family. You know, like, you're on the right track with, you know, okay, you try to call the cops, they can't get there in time. You try the smart things, doesn't work. Yeah, you know, you're on the right track, but then you make it like a zombie movie, and it's like...
That got weird. Yeah, that got weird.
That's weird.
That is. I mean, at that point when... the other family that was in this movie that immediately died, by the way. The jerks, yeah. The jerk family that immediately died off in this movie. You know, I mean, the moment those doppelgangers appeared and killed their opposites, I was like, what?
I feel like they're kind of playing it up for humor for them.
This movie, well, humor is also... notoriety for Jordan Peele.
It felt weird as well that the mother character who we find out later is the doppelganger that switched places very early in her life. It feels weird that she's so unnerved and like actually asking, you know, what do you want from this woman even when they're alone, because very clearly she knows what she wants. She wants revenge for being swapped out at a very young age to live in a horrible underground facility forever.
Unless she somehow repressed that, but in which I ask how.
And there's something involving souls and how they both get controlled by the dominant soul above or something, and they get cut off from their souls when they're in the bunkers.
Right,
except when they don't.
They're tethered in their own unique way, because, I mean...
except when they're not?
Which, Jordan Peele never expanded upon that, which would have been interesting. Like,
Well, because it kind of breaks down, because... Like, we know that the doppelgangers, the clones that are made underground, are kind of controlled to an extent by the guys above ground. But when they switch places, suddenly the one that's from above ground is now controlled by the doppelgangers above ground. So is there a device in there that breaks off the soul from each other?
I don't know.
Is it a thing where the weaker-willed person is the one that gets broken off?
There's so much symbolism you could play with. There's so much.
Does that imply that there is a mortal soul and that only one of them gets to have it, and the god symbolism is the right one? Which seems weird because I'm not getting much of a pulse for the symbolic relationship of religion.
See, they also kind of toy with fate for a bit.
There's also the weirdity about how, like, with the white family, when they get murdered, they kind of just all get murdered very easily, very straightforward. Like, they just kind of stab them in the face and they're done with it. Whereas with
cut and dry.
Whereas with the main character family, they kind of get, like, toyed with and tortured for some reason.
Well, it was personal to the
It was personal
original.
for her, but wouldn't it be personal for all of them?
Well, and I mean, clearly she's the alpha of that whole group.
Well, speaking of, how does that work? How is she able to get them all to break out?
That's a good question. That was never elaborated on either. Because, I mean, everyone was tethered to their originals, the doppelgangers, but...
Except when she, like, told them, hey, guess what? You guys are totally able to rise up and stab them and stuff. Then they just kind of do. Where do they get the leather for their gloves? Where'd they get the suits?
That is a lot of suits.
Where'd they get all those gold scissors?
I know. Yeah. I mean, was there like a locker full of these?
How'd they get them before they broke out of underground?
Searches me. I mean, they also age and reproduce, which is also equally bizarre. Because I mean,
well, I think that part is biology, and that would make enough sense.
Yeah, fair.
If they're forced to do exactly what their others do.
It all looked like some weird...
It doesn't hold up
Cold
when you look at it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because in Get Out, it held up under scrutiny. Like, okay, it makes sense why they do this, because they kind of came to fetishize black people as being the dominant ones, but they just thought all along, oh, well, we were being idiots before, thought white people were the best, but black people are actually physically stronger, thus we want to put a white brain in a black body. But in this one, it doesn't really hold up for the mechanics of the universe either. Like, it doesn't fully work out.
No.
I think part of it is, like, you know how in the trailers you see maybe the first half of the movie or so, but before they get to, like, the other cabin and find out, like, oh, it's a global thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see only the good parts of the movie. I think that's the part that he came up with first, and he had to write the rest of the scripts. And he had no idea.
No, he had a good start. It was a good concept, good characters, but... Like I said, up until more doppelgangers were introduced outside of the family.
It holds up pretty well.
Yeah. But that moment those other doppelgangers got introduced, I was confused and lost. Like, wait, what?
Where are you going with this, Jordan Peele?
Are you trying to introduce a shadow world? No.
Which they did.
They did, but it was created by man. Which
there's also this. Let's talk about symbolism for a second. There's a very heavy, like, rabbit symbolism going on.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a point to it.
Well, I mean, maybe going down the rabbit hole to get to the truth, and that truth was apparently like, our protagonist was actually a doppelganger all along.
I guess, but it's not much of a truth. It's not an interesting truth, and it doesn't say anything interesting about the government.
It doesn't. Well. The government thing they mentioned, like, maybe once.
They mentioned it in passing as just well, yeah, there's doppelgangers.
I mean, yeah, that seems like a...
Government project. Okay.
Yeah, they just shrugged, like, wait, what do you mean a government project?
It was part of a whole monologue she gave right before they had to fight.
And I couldn't quite understand it. I mean...
I was lost on it too. I think it was supposed to be a take on the zombie movie and his take on zombies, which, if we look at it through the lens of zombie movies over the years, this would be a permutation on zombies where instead of the threat being consumerism, or the threat being the other, or the threat being communism, this time it would be the threat of ourselves and what we deny in ourselves.
Flash mob zombies.
But it doesn't really hold up either, though.
No, it doesn't. Like you said, it's paper thin, which kind of leaves it to some fan interpretation, or...
Well, I mean, yeah, there's always interpretation involved in looking at a deeper theme for a movie, but I don't think there's enough to chew on for this one. I think that's ultimately where I'm going to go with my belief, is that there's just not enough there for the theme or story or characters.
And was that on purpose? I'm kind of curious. Like,
I don't think it was. I think this is one where he had a half-baked idea and couldn't find an ending for it.
Right. Which, if he does make a third movie, let's see how it goes. And again, when you compare it to Get Out, it doesn't quite hold a whole lot of water.
It doesn't.
And even if you even if this was Jordan Peele's first movie, it still probably wouldn't hold a lot of water because.
All right. Well, we have discussed this movie as far as we can discuss it. I think we're running out of fumes here. Brendan, would you recommend seeing this movie in theaters?
I would. I mean, if you like to get out, you'll like this as well. If you like suspense in theater, but plot wise, you'll be a little confused.
Yeah, I would also recommend it. Despite its failings as a Jordan Peele movie and its kind of weakness in a few fields, it is still a good movie, and it does hold up in a sea of mediocrity in theaters at the moment.
It does, yeah.
All right, well, this has been Nick.
And this has been Brendan.
Thanks for listening to us ramble.